Hi guys, it's Dakota. I didn't realize the camera was on. I was waiting and waiting. Hi guys, it's Dakota. Welcome to the Hallowed Cauldron. All right, today we are on Element Ritual Series Part 2, Fire. Yay! For those of you who are just tuning in, if you don't know what this is about, I would really highly recommend that you watch last week's video, which is Element Ritual Part 1, which is air, and the video before that, which is binding spells. I would really suggest that you watch that because it is about binding, but it's really specific to where we're headed with this series. So that way, when we get to the end of this series, if you decide to follow along, when we get to the end, you'll understand a little bit better that binding. So I talked just a little bit about binding, but it's really more specific to what it is that we're doing. Also, we started with air, which was last week. So you'll need to watch that, and I talk all about that and what it is that if you decide to follow along and participate. If you find this is something you want to do, then you'll want to watch that video as well. All right, so today we're going to be talking about fire. Yes, fire, my favorite. I don't know why I am so drawn to fire. I have read books, I have read blogs, I have talked to mentors, friends, you know, I've taken courses on the elements, and there isn't anything that can tell me why I am drawn to fire, and why air is probably my least element that I'm drawn to, and I'm an air sign. So, and it could be that, and these are all things that I've read and watched videos and stuff, because it could, air feeds fire, and being air, maybe that's what it is. Maybe my energy, being air energy, feeds that fire, and so then that creates more energy. I don't know. No one has been able to explain that part to me, and I don't really need it explained to me. I just am drawn to fire, and that's all there is to it. So, but I do talk last week about balance of the elements, so you really do need to watch last week's video, Element Ritual Series Part 1, Air. All right, so why? And so what this is about is, the ritual is going to be about introducing ourselves to each of the elements. And the reason why is because, and as you know, if you've watched any of my videos, I believe in having a foundation and building the house to my path of witchcraft, Wicca, my spell work, rituals, anything that I do. There has to be that foundation in order to hold everything together. So, if I'm going to be doing some sort of fire magic, and I'm going to be calling in the element of fire, I want to know exactly what its pros and cons are. I want to know what its strengths are and what its weaknesses are. I am not going to just go, oh, candle magic, yay, and light a candle on fire when I really don't know the essence of fire, when I really don't know the soul of fire. I truly believe that if you are going to practice magic in a way that serves your highest good, then you really should know and understand what it is that you're working with. And that includes anything that you're doing. I mean, there's so many beginner books and videos out there. I don't want to get off track, but I saw one the other day. It was a video. It was And it was titled something like Witchcraft 101, what the basics, what you need to know, what you need to have. And it was talking about all the things that you needed to have if you were going to start your practice. Look, anyway, no, you don't. I'm just going to answer it that way. No, you don't. No, you don't. And, you know, and it was like, because this represents this, or this represents that, but that was all they could say about it. And anyway, you really need to research what it is that you're doing. I would never invoke the element of fire into my circle without knowing what it's all about, what its strengths are and what its weaknesses are, like I said. And not only that, but I want to introduce myself to each individual element, because I want them to know this is me calling you. This is me calling you. These are my knowing you. I researched you. I know what you're all about. And this is me and why I'm calling you. You know, why I don't want fire to show up and go, what do you want? Why are you bothering me? You know? And then have fire get mad and have some kind of thing happen, you know, in circle or whatever. Like, I want fire to know why I am invoking it. I want fire to know why I'm using it. I want fire to know what I expect of it. And I want to know what, from fire, one of the things that I want to know with all the elements, but we're talking about fire, what I want to know about fire is, what do you expect in return? What offering do you require, or is most appealing to you? What is it that you expect from me? Because you're not going to just give to me without getting something in return. Talked about that last week. The neighbor who needs a ride all the time. And you're kind-hearted and you keep giving and giving. You keep giving them a ride to the store and back, sometimes twice a day. And they never, you know, they might go, hey, thanks. But they've never brought you a flower. They've never baked you a cake. They've never mowed your lawn. You know, like they've never done anything. It gets old after a while, until the one time they come and you're like, you know, yeah, I can't do it today. And then they're pissed off. Well, you know, that's, I don't want fire as my pissed off neighbor. To be quite honest with you, I don't want any of the elements as my pissed off neighbor. So when I continually ask them for something, I want to be sure that I am also giving back what they require in gratitude for their help, whether the spell manifests or not. Because as you know, and you should know, not all of your spell work is going to manifest. Sometimes it may not be the right time for you. It could be that fire was tired of giving to you and you never getting anything in return. Maybe you didn't choose your words right. There's a lot of reasons, you know, a lot of reasons. Sometimes spells don't work. It's just the way it is. Be grateful. Be grateful, because you don't know why it didn't work. If it wasn't the time for that to happen, but they went ahead and said, okay, I'm going to grant you your wish, and it really was poor timing, then that's not good, right? It's not good for your highest good. So that is why I think it's really important to introduce ourselves to each of the elements on an individual basis, on a personal basis. You are fire. I've studied you, I've researched you. I know what your weaknesses are, and I know what your strengths are. I know what you're able to give to me, and I am grateful for those things. Warmth. It's cold out. You give me warmth. You give me heat to cook my food. You know, the things. And so I know you. Now I want you to know me. This is who I am by name. This is who I am. Whether you use your real given name or you use a magical name, as long as that's the name that you want them to know you by, it's important. You know, it's just really important to for them to know, and for them to know what your expectations are, and for you to know what your expectations are. It's really important. So fire is about our drive. It's about our ambition. It's about our goals. It's about fire is an action. I was going to say action card because I'm going to show you. Fire is action. It's movement. It's a doer. It's a go-getter. You know, it can get out of control, just like all of the elements. It can get out of control. So you have to know how to contain that. And the one thing that it is really is it is our will. Now, as you know, I follow the Witch's Pyramid. I think there's a video that I've done on the Witch's Pyramid. I'm not sure, but I'll have to look and see, because if I haven't, you should probably know that. But we did air last week. That is to know. All things of the mind, to know. Intelligence, wisdom, thought, to know. A fire is to will. We will it. We will it to be. As I will it, so mote it be. That's what will is. I've done this. I know you. You know me. To the best of my ability, I have added all of the elements needed, the correspondence needed. I've chosen the words wisely for this spell. Now, as I will it, so mote it be. It's your will. That's fire. That's fire. Now, fire is about transformation, as I think personally all the elements are. That's why we use elements in our spell work, because we're trying to transform things. We're trying to either manifest things, which is transforming, or we're trying to release things, which is transforming. So it is transforming. All right. So now in tarot, the wand in tarot represents fire. Today I have a different book, a different card, and book, because I have to read it from the book, because this is not a tarot deck. This is Raven Grimassi. This is his book, his card deck, and it's called The Hidden Path. And it is not tarot, and it's not even oracle. It's sort of a it's really about the path. The cards are really about the path, about witchcraft. He talks about the sabbats and the esbats and the god and the goddess and things like that. So I have found it to be really informative. But typically in tarot, the tarot card is wand. Wand represents fire. And in tarot, you will see that it's a very active card. Like the Five of Wands is very active. There's just a lot of movement in tarot with the wands. So, but I decided to use Raven Grimassi's deck, and what I chose was, this is the Sacred Grotto. You can see a cave with the fire going on back there in the cave. And right here, this is water. I want you to notice all of the elements. We have the air, which would be represented by the smoke from the fire. Then you have fire itself. You have earth represented by the cave, the ground, the land, and then we have this water. All right, it's called the Sacred Grotto. And so I just wanted to read this one little script. Let's see. Okay, the theme conveys the ancient, let me hold it up. There we go. All right. So this theme conveys the ancient teachings of the womb and transformation and what flows, water, from the principle. So I like that because that's exactly what it is that I'm talking about. The cave being the womb, the fire being the spark. Okay, so the wand in tarot is about that that movement. You got to get moving. You've thought about it. You got to get moving. You've got to will it to be. The colors of fire, pretty obvious. Red. Some people use yellow. That's fine, but we've used yellow for East. So red, maybe orange. You could use gold if you want. But today we're using red. So you will want to have a red candle. And I mentioned in last video, I have chosen to use taper candles for this particular thing we're doing because I wanted a longer burn time than the chimes. Use whatever you want. You can use red tea light, red votive, red pillar, red chime, doesn't matter. But I have already done my inscribing, and as I did with the yellow candle, you can see how I have done this complete circle in the middle because I'm going to be introducing, which is sending out, and I'm going to be calling in the resources of fire, what I know about fire. Okay, so that's what you're going to want to do with your candle. So on this top part, you're going to want to right from the middle out towards the flame, right from the middle out, your introduction, who you are. Remember, it could be a sigil, it could be whatever words you want fire to know about you. And then from the middle in, you're drawing in, then you're going to write what fire is to you. And one of the things, like I did write on here, I wrote will, and I wrote gosh, I don't know what I wrote. I wrote some other things on here that I can't read. Anyway, will is one of the words that I can read on here. Okay. I forgot something. I'll be right back. Okay. The other thing that you're going to need, besides your red candle, is you're going to need some seeds. Now, I have here, these are 4 o'clock seeds. I have 4 o'clocks right here by the witch cottage, and they get a ton of seeds, a ton of flowers. They need to really be thinned out, but you'll need some seeds. And then I have this seed, which I really don't know what that is too, but it was in my little seed saver thing, and I am actually going to plant that in a pot and see what it is. I don't know what it is. If anybody knows, it's this flat seed. I'm excited. So you're going to need some seeds, and it doesn't matter what kind of seeds, but that's what you're going to need. Let me set these down. Oh, let me put them here so they don't blow away. Okay. So you're going to need the seeds, because seeds is also about our will. The air, we can look at the seed this way. The seed is air, and fire is our, that's the sprout. It emerges. It's a mover. So fire is what gets it moving. Okay, so you're going to need the seeds. The other thing is, all right, so my candle, let me move this so it'll get out of the way. All right, candle. Today I'm going to, the other thing about the seeds, let me go back to my notes here real quick. Okay, the other thing about the seeds is, the seed, I'm going to look down here at this note. The seed contains life, and through gestation and nurturing, they become life. All right, so there's the importance of fire. If you've ever read or know the story of the goddess Caradwen and the story of Taliesin, it was life-changing for me, and we want to talk about the elements. Read that story. All right, so all right, I just am reading, making sure I covered everything. All right, we did. Good. Okay, so today I'm going to cleanse. I'm going to move the camera down. All right. Oops, there we go. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to cleanse my candle. And as you know, I have a weird way of cleansing things. So I have a boo-boo. I'm going to try not to get this on my boo-boo because this burns. What I have here is dandelion tincture. Yes, that's right, tincture. You're going to cleanse with the tincture? Yes, I am. I'm going to just put some of this dandelion tincture right on here. I mean, for, you know, it's got oil and it's got alcohol. And what better thing to cleanse than alcohol? And now, since I'm just cleansing it, it doesn't matter if I rub it up and down, however you want to. I'm just giving it a cleanse, the bottom, all around. And that's what I decided to use, because a dandelion, to me, that bright yellow flower, that couldn't be more sun, more fire. I absolutely love the dandelion, and fire is one of, I believe, corresponds with, or the dandelion corresponds with the element of fire, I believe. Not 100%, and there you go. I just went off of what I felt, and that's what I felt. And I didn't want to put dandelion oil on it. I do have some, but I didn't want to put that on it because I'm using a different kind of oil. But I needed to cleanse my candle, and I decided I would cleanse it with the tincture. That's what I do. The next thing I'm going to use, this is cinnamon oil, because, if I can get it open, because cinnamon is one of the spices that corresponds with fire. Cinnamon, ginger, any kind of thing like that that is spicy. Peppers. You could ground up some peppers and do that, or if you have, they do have pepper oil, by the way. So I'm taking the cinnamon oil. Now, remember, from the middle out, from the middle out, from the middle out, I am anointing or dressing my candle from the middle out, throwing in that intention of introduction to fire. And then I'm going to, from the middle towards me, and the bottom. I always dress the bottom. Okay. I'll tell you what, if you got a cut, woo, that cinnamon burns. Ow! All right. Swiping some of that oil up. Ooh, that burns. That smells good. All right. The next thing I am going to, remember how we talked about I wasn't going to use any herbs? That is true, but I want to use a little bit of cinnamon powder. It's just cinnamon powder. And I'm just going to take this and I am just going to sprinkle just a little bit of cinnamon powder on here. Remember, cinnamon is that fire hot spice. That's what I decided to use. I'm just using a little bit. Okay. I'll roll it in there and pick up some. So I did. Cinnamon. All right. Now, the last thing I'm going to use, and I'm not going to dress the candle with it. If you remember when we did air, the herbs that I laid the candle, remember I did a circle of herbs. It was lavender and sage, and I think there was some cedar in there that I just went around the candle. I will be using those herbs. I saved them. I'm going to be using those herbs at the end. So, but I did not dress the candle with any herbs. I only dressed that candle air with, I cleansed it and I used an oil, all right? So you can do whatever you want. If you want to dress it, that's fine. But I am dressing this a little bit with some cinnamon. And, okay, this is the coolest thing ever. This is what I'm not going to dress my candle with this, but I'm going to use this later, like with the herbs, I'm going to use this later. A friend of mine gave this to me. Her brother, I believe, is a pilot or worked for a pilot or something. Anyway, he was in Italy and in 2014, and that is when Mount Etna volcano erupted, and there was volcano ash everywhere. And he called her from Italy and wanted to know if she wanted some of the ash, because he's like, I know you're weird, do you want some of that? And she was like, absolutely, because they had to clean the planes and everything. So she brought me some as well. Mount Etna. It's the volcano ash. Now, if you don't have Mount Etna volcano ash, you could use ash, burn some sage if you want, or if you have a bonfire that was real special to you, or incense ash, if you want to burn a special incense and you have the ash from the incense, you're going to want to use ash. So what I'm going to do is this ash, it's so weird. It feels like, it just feels like sand, and see, it's not dirty. It's not dirty at all. It just feels like sand, but rock sand. I don't know, it's hard to explain what it looks like. All right, so I'm going to keep this because I'm going to be using this when it comes down to the final thing that we're going to be doing at the end of the series. Okay, so that is it. Ask yourself this week, these are things that you're going to need to be thinking about this week. Last week you should have been preparing your candle and your introduction to air. This week you're going to be preparing your candle and writing your introduction to fire. And some of the things to think about is, you know, some of the things you could ask. Where do you need to improve on your life? Where do you need to improve on your life? What can fire help you with in that regard? What are you actively doing? Think about this now. What are you actively doing that you are passionate about? You should be doing something that you're passionate about. It could be anything. It could be gardening. It could be cooking. It could be reading. Whatever it is that you are passionate about. What are you doing? Start thinking about those things. Where do you need to step up? Where do you need to improve? And then start observing everything around you, just like you did with the air. Look around, look outside, look at nature, look inside. If you're cooking, what about that fire? You know, if you're grilling, what about that fire? Everything, just anything and everything that is, sorry about that noise. That was my little speaker over there. Start thinking about what around us is fire. Do you notice that I have candles almost burning, that I had incense burning, that there's fire right there? Start observing fire. What is it to you? What do you want fire to know about you? And what do you recognize as fire? Your ritual tool, athame, however you like to pronounce it, forged in fire. Start thinking about those things. All right. Okay. So that's it for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. And next week we will be moving on to our third element, part 3 of the series. Thanks, guys. Have a great week. See you soon. Bye.